Welcome at Twende Shule, the program that offers an honor in teaching in various subjects. But today we continue with the history subject. In the previous lesson, we are discussing the second topic in Form 4 about nationalism and decolonization processes in Africa. Therefore, we discussed on how the Africans got rid from colonial dominations. We discussed on how the people of Africa, they attained their independence. Therefore, soon after African states became independent, they had to change their economic policy, their social policy, and the political policy in order to suit to what intended by the so-called independence. Though sometime something strange happened after the independence, which were out of the expectation of the people. Sometime the young people of Africa expected that upon the attainment of independence, they will be able to get employment. They will be able to exercise social, political, and economic affairs of their state. But to some countries, things went wrong. Instead, the African people were still swimming across the Mediterranean Sea, going to Italy and France so that they may be enslaved anew. The African women expected that upon the attainment of political independence, they'll be able to get water from the tap, but they were still traveling 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers for searching water. But we are not Afro-pessimists to deny the changes that occurred in Africa soon after the independence. Therefore, today we are going to discuss the third topic in Form 4 about changes in political, social, and economic policies in Africa after independence. As I said, because we are not Afro-pessimists, I'm always Afro-optimist. So I concur with the people who are saying that something happened after the independence. Though sometimes it was not the expectation of the people that expected that upon the attainment of political independence, they could enjoy in their country. Therefore, within this topic, we are going to cover about the situation of African states at the point of independence. That soon after the African state attained their independence, what were the situation in economic sector, in the political sector, in the social sector, in all walks of life, how the people now are living. We are going to cover about the political changes and the political strategies that were initiated by the Africa in order to cope with the new system of independence. We are going to cover about the economic changes that were initiated by the Africans in order to get rid from colonial legacy. We are going to cover about the social and the cultural change that happened in Africa in order to suit to the new system of independence. Remember, we got our independence. We wanted self-governance. But something, what happened for the Africa, sometimes I can say we changed from the white domination to black domination. Because to some country, what happened after the independence, to some people, it was better to be colonized by the whites rather than colonized by their fellow black. So now what is the fate of Africa? Sometimes we are the co-author of our own misfortune. Therefore, let us start by discussing the political economic and social situation of Africa at the point of independence. If we are speaking about Ghana, means from 1957. If you are speaking in Tanganyika, you are speaking from 1961. If you are speaking about Uganda, you are speaking from 1962. If you are speaking about Kenya, means you are speaking from 1963. And if you are speaking about South Africa, you are speaking about from 1994. So at the point of independence, what were the economic situation in Africa? What were the social situation in Africa? What were the political situation in Africa? So the following are the situations of Africa at the point of independence. Let us start with the political situation. So politically, the African political system were highly centralized with the highly centralized administration system. So the administration system at the point of independence was highly centralized. That there are a few people who were given all power, who were regarded as demigods. They dominated all walks of life. Sometimes, specifically in the British colonies, because much power was vested to the kings and chiefs. So even after the independence, most of the power was still vested to the king and chiefs. So the power was centralized to the maximum, to the extent that the subject had no power. They were only responding to the king or to the chief. This was the situation, the legacy of colonial rule, what we inherited from colonialism. That the power was vested to the few people, to the few individuals, specifically the African chiefs or African kings. So because the power was vested to the few people, there were a need of changes to delegate power even to other people so that they may enjoy that we are no longer under the colonial domination. Now we are a free nation. Because we demanded independence so that we may be free to exercise our political affairs. Therefore, what we inherited from colonialism was the centralized administration system whereby the power, the administrative power, was only vested to few individuals, specifically the African chiefs. We will see later what happened now after the independence. But at the point of independence, most of the power was vested to few individuals. The power was highly centralized to few people. Another aspect, we inherited limited trained African personnel to carry out administration. And the reason behind here, because the colonial education was discriminative in nature. Even those schools that were constructed, few Africans had an access to education. Only sons of chiefs were allowed to attend to the school. But the rest, they had no access to education. So few Africans were educated during colonial administration. Only sons of chiefs and the kings had an access to education.